Are you tired of the rat race in America? Are you ready to visit the motherland to relax and rejuvenate? Are you ready to explore all that Africa has to offer? Then check out the brand new Diversified Game Academy course, Prepare for My First Trip to Africa. Are you worried about being able to afford the trip? We got you. We will show you how to travel either on a budget or as a baller. Learn how to stretch the value of the USD. Did you know that 100 United States dollars is worth over 1,000 South African rand, or 10,000 Kenyan shillings, or 54,250 West African CFA? Are you worried about taking your kids? Get the game from Kellen Cash, a bona fide world traveler, having traveled to almost 20 countries, several of those in Africa. Get the game on taking your kids on their first trips. Learn how to find the best tickets, get the visas, and plan your own adventures in Africa. Don't let Eddie Murphy have all the fun. Plan your own coming to Africa trip starring you, produced by you, and featuring you. If you are ready for a life-changing experience, sign up for our course today, Diversified Game Academy. Get prepared and purchase at diversifiedgame.com.
South Africa has experienced a long history of forcible removals. It was the Group Areas Act of 1950 that formalized and rigorously implemented forced removals on an enormous scale during the apartheid era. While the Group Areas Act forced segregation of people according to the racial group they belonged to, segregation along racial lines existed before apartheid and was already instituted by colonial authorities through various urban planning efforts. With apartheid came the rigorous implementation of removals on a massive scale. South African citizens of colour were placed into council housing built by the apartheid government according to the racial groups within the areas that people were forced to live in, each area being race-specific. Council flats were built for people to live in but remained under the ownership of the apartheid government. Tenants were obliged to pay rent to the municipal authority for the area where they lived. Council housing was built by the apartheid government for the working class, the unemployed, and the low socio-economic residents. Due to the impoverished situation of many South Africans, residents who lived in council flats, the maintenance and upkeep of these council flats was the sole responsibility of the municipal government. During the period between 1998 and 2002, following the new democratic dispensation, sectional title schemes were introduced. Sectional title refers to the ownership of a unit within a complex or development. The South African Department of Human Settlements is encouraging residents of council-owned flats to take ownership of the flats. However, when consideration is taken of the reasoning behind the building of these council flats under the apartheid regime, where residents paid affordable rental due to them either being unemployed, grantees, or pensioners, it is evident that the conversion of these flats into sectional title schemes is untenable and would certainly place many of these residents in a situation where they have, and as will be indicated later, lost ownership due to the non-payment of levies, which is much higher than the rental amount. Tenants could purchase their flats for as little as 600 to 800 rand as per the National Housing Programme's discount benefit scheme. Reducing rental stock is a mechanism for the municipality to reduce maintenance expenses and utilities associated with public ownership. However, once tenants become owners, the levy amount is much higher than the rental amounts tenants were initially paying while under municipal ownership. The cumulative non-payment of levies is the root of several problems encountered by residents. In sectional title schemes, levies create a collective pool used to pay for municipal services and carry out maintenance. Due to residents being desperate to be homeowners, they have been signing sectional title agreements. Many tenants have reported that they are not being educated by the Department of Human Settlements about the risks associated with being a homeowner in a sectional title scheme. The consequence is that many residents have either lost their homes or are currently fighting to keep their homes due to the non-payment of sectional title levies. A few cases to point out are Flamingo Court, which is located in Umbilo, South Africa. The building comprises of 200 units spread over 13 floors. It is the home to more than 1,000 people. It emulates Durban's social and political dynamics. Owners and tenants, families, the youth and the elderly, South African and foreign nationals share Flamingo Court's precarious social and built environments marked by intergenerational households, a high proportion of women-headed households, and high rates of unemployment and poverty. According to an article released by the Mercury, a property expert tasked with rescuing Flamingo Court is now taking the Durban municipality to court, challenging its housing policy and accusing it of abandoning the poor in the neglected high-rise building, which is turning into a slum. The article further states, firstly, that no financial assessment was done on the ability for tenants to pay the joint costs of sectional title ownership. And secondly, tenants were not told ownership was substantially more expensive than the rentals, which some were already battling to pay, and that they could lose their homes as a result. And lastly, there was also no comprehensive costing done on long-term maintenance and repairs on the crumbling building, which needed new downpipes, windows, lifts, and repainting. If a tenant does not pay levies, legislation provides that they may be sued at their own cost, and once the arrears are sufficient, their home may be declared executable and sold to recover their debt. The provincial government and the eThekwini municipality are opposing the application by stating that a feasibility and income study was done and tenants had been advised of the responsibilities of sectional title. Residents of Flamingo Court have however stated that warnings to officials that people will lose their homes have fallen on deaf ears. Bristol Crescent is located within Kaitamana, South Africa. According to an article released by Property 360, levy hikes have resulted in residents of Bristol Crescent being homeless. 25 of the 202 units have already been auctioned, and other families have had their furniture and household items attached to recoup levies from defaulting flat dwellers. Owners being forced to move out due to levies being in arrears. Residents have stated that the levies are unaffordable and that those who could not afford to pay were being charged interest on their arrears. This resulted in poor families, mostly pensioners, facing exorbitant bills. A 62-year-old pensioner stated that he had stopped paying his levies and owes thousands. He had to pay a special levy, an insolvency levy, a water meter levy, a loan levy, a painting levy, and as well as his normal monthly levy of 673 rand.
Hi, I'm one of the members of the community of Wentworth who live in the flats that were handed over for our ownership here. And when my dad had died, he was the initial owner of the flat. I didn't immediately move in. There was a family member who resided here. And when I had moved in, I had discovered that there was quite a big debt owed on levies that were not paid. I tried to contact the companies to create a payment plan. They did not like my payment plan, but what I had noticed was that there was great discrepancies with the way their interest worked. It reached a stage where, with interest in that, within a year it could be going up at over 100,000 rand, and it started running away. They eventually auctioned this place. Sadly enough, the entire auction situation here in Durban itself has a lot of scammers and schemers working there as well, because there was this company who bought it just to simply exploit the living in residents, and when they got enough cash out of them, they would simply dump it and then the house is up for auction again. Sadly, it reached a point where I noticed that due to their clever mathematics, interest was going up by as much as 25,000 rand a month. Now I worked out that if I even paid 25,000 rand a month, I would pay them 25,000 for the rest of my life and still be in debt to them.
Residents who are in arrears have reported that they now owe between 60,000 and 254,000 each in unpaid levies, which are amounts that they simply cannot afford, while others have reported that their assets have been attached due to them being unable to pay levies, so they have to have sold their flats, which has left them homeless.
I initially applied for the flat in Bristol Crescent back in 2000, 25 years ago, 1996. Yeah, and I was issued the flat in 1997, 3rd of July. I had gone to Mrs. Black in Mayville, the blue building, and that's how I got my flat, because I was living in a bachelor flat in town with 3 children, and it was very unhealthy. So when I got the flat in Galway, Bristol Crescent, I took it, and after a few years they offered us to purchase the flats. They were going to scrap all our arrears. So not knowing anything and being excited at getting our own home, so we went for it. A lot of people went and signed. We weren't given the opportunity to read through the thick bundle of documents that we were issued, so we just signed because we were so excited. They scrapped our arrears. My arrears must have been like 50-something thousand at that time, and they scrapped it. So down the line, still waiting for title deeds. Then 2019 January, the lady that works at the Human Settlements came through with places for us to sign, saying that the title deeds are being held at the offices, and we need to sign this form saying that we now know about the title deeds at the office. So I didn't want to sign, and she said, no, nothing will happen, just sign. So I signed, and now little realizing that from that day I was going to be liable for payment of levies, which is now amounts to 30-something thousand, and I've been unemployed for like 25 years.
A legal consultant who was representing the resident on a pro bono basis stated that the conversion of the complex to that of a sectional title property seemed to have backfired, as sectional title schemes are not a suitable model for low-income earners. The levies being imposed by the administrator are extremely high and beyond the economic reach of the occupants at Bristol Crescent.
This is my story. I'm a single parent. I was given a council flat 27 years ago through Martin West as a single parent with 3 small children at the time. I used to pay rent like 73 Rand a month back then, and as the years went, later on Martin West had sent all the tenants letters. This flat was based in Durban, in Silverleaf Place. Council had given us letters saying they're now ready to give us ownership, to actually hand over title deeds. So as we journeyed, we got paperwork done. They then charged us 600 Rand to have these flats turned into title deeds and ownership. And later on we got a body corporate going, and we had a managing agent. Okay, as the years went, we started off with 200 Rand a month levies, and within the time of me losing the flat, we were paying 300 Rand a month levies. Should I say I had my daughter in there as well? I had my daughter living there, my eldest daughter with her 4 kids, 4 of my grandkids, and they went into difficulty, and levies was not paid for 2 years. And when the lawyers' letters started coming, and I was called in to go to court, we then went into agreement, telling them that everybody was still unemployed at the time, but these lawyers insisted that we pay 3,000 Rand a month, and my daughter could only come up with 1,000. But they said before we started this agreement, I had to come up with 3,000 Rand every month, and we now have receipts till this day that 15,000 Rand was paid in. There was a lot of interest that these lawyers had added, and This property in Silverleaf Place, this flat is a 2-bedroom. It was auctioned 3 times without my knowledge. I went to the chairman at that time. He's now late, Mr. Deere. Mr. Deere said he knew nothing about signing. He never signed for this managing agent to auction my flat. According to these trustees and this chairman, they had no knowledge of my flat being auctioned. So my flat was auctioned 3 times, and when I went to see these lawyers in Westville, they said to me I had to come up with another 30,000, which I didn't have. So in 2012, they sent the sheriffs there in December of that year, and they abruptly, physically carried my daughter's furniture out of the flat with her and my 4 grandkids. So for me, it's injustice. Because they didn't consider. I had even called in counsel, Aubrey Snyman, to come and assist within the time of the sheriff being there, and there was nothing he could do.
Some residents of Silverleaf Manor, based in Wentworth, South Africa, have already lost homes, while others are currently in fear that their homes will be auctioned. So what are the solutions? Tenants who are affected by the sectional title schemes should be adequately informed and educated on the implications of what sectional title and ownership mean. They should not be enticed into taking ownership and signing documents that they are not completely aware of. There are many residents who are not well educated enough to understand the seriousness of the conversion from rental to ownership. Before the Department of Human Settlements even converts rental flats to ownership, there should be community meetings between the Department of Human Settlements and flat dwellers to inform them so that they can make informed decisions about whether they want to remain on the rental scheme or ownership. They should be made aware of the risks involved, including the possibility of losing their flats if they are unable to keep up with levies that far exceed their income from grants and pensioners, or when they become unemployed. The onus is on the Department of Human Settlements to ensure the maintenance and upkeep of the flats and should not be the responsibility of the residents. Many of these flats are in a deplorable condition and are certainly not conducive for human habitation. The flats should remain what they were intended for grantees, pensioners, unemployed people and low-income earners, and the residents should not be enticed to take ownership, which places them at risk of losing their homes. African Diaspora News Channel, Marilyn Couch, South Africa.
Welcome to Marion, Ghana, where Kente cloth is what we do, where African weddings and events are our specialty, where African tradition, where it's perfected, where beautiful culture resides, where marrying is honorable. MGKente.com, where competitors can't compete in quality or prices. Shop now, MGKente.com. Thank you for watching, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out the African Diaspora News Channel app in the Google Play and Apple App Store.